uyabe sekhombile so berekasatshela umfana lazi lo mfana akamtsheli lazi umamazala nxa wambona ekliniki emagwegwe laphana ethatha amaphilisi uyasikethi mntanami umntwana lokathathwa ulani ule-AIDS so ubandlululo lwe-HIV lokho lukhona ukuthi abantu information abanjani abala full package information.
Likwenza njani manje uthi qede ubandlululo olukhona?
Imhlangano kazibuthe bezinhlangano emahholu sinama campaign awareness nema organization afana ngado National AIDS Council olabo dreams sinama organization amanye ayifana njengoba Z10 Plus njengoba Positive Living Association of Zimbabwe ngikhokhelayo so siyakhuthaza siyamemethisa that information ukuthi abantu bengabandlululani but kodwa khaya ngathi we are winning just because lokho kuseke abantu sebe accept ukuthi umuntu ophila legcikwani umuntu onje nje ubaqala phasi asinikwa amabizo so highway stove so ngathi and so forth.
Ngiyabonga kakhulu baba Benjamin Sande nesikhathi othe wangipha sona sikhangela njalo siqhubekela phambili ngalokho okwenzakala ngapha siyabona njalo ukuthi abantu besigabeni kumbe abantu besiqintini yibo abakhokhelayo kunhlelo lezi ezokuqeda ukubandlulula lokuthola ukuthi abantu bayahamba emaklinika lezibhedlela ukuthi bayophathiswa konke lokho kuyakhanya ukuthi iZimbabwe isesimeni esihle ukuthi izagcwalisisa kumbe uqeda ukumemetheka lokuthelelana kwegciwane elitsha ele-HIV eZimbabwe. Sikhangela njalo ngokukhulunyiweyo izolo ukuthi iZimbabwe yona ngokwayo iyehlisa kuma 95% targets iZimbabwe kukhanya ingeminye yamazwe agoqela phakathi iRwanda leBotswana amazweni aqhuba kuhle ekakhulu ekulwisaneni legciwane le-HIV le-AIDS elizwe le-Africa. Ilizwe leZimbabwe njalo likhangelelwe njalo ukuthi lilenhlungu ezehlileyo okungesilinganiso sokungamachumi amahlanu lanhlanu kusiyafika ku-2025 okhangelwa ukuthi ilizwe leZimbabwe liqhubeka kuhle. Sikhangela njalo ukuthi kulezinye inhlelo ezenziwayo ikakhulu inhlanganiso ye-National AIDS Council iyaqhuba inhlelo ezehlukeneyo ezokunika amandla ikakhulu kwabasakhulayo ukuthi benelise njalo ukuthi bazimele bodwa. Sike sabona njalo eminye imfanekiso yemisebenzi eqhutshwayo kuthiwa yi-sister to sister leyo eyokukhuthaza amantombazana le-brother to brother eyokukhuthaza abafana ukuthi bayehlolwa njalo benelise ukuzimela bebodwa. Justin.
Certainly, Bengani, those are the efforts that are taking place on the ground. Communities mobilizing themselves also to make sure that they play that very important role in reducing the transmission of HIV and AIDS. Yes, you mentioned the 95 targets that even the government of Zimbabwe has managed to achieve. And this is the great work that the government is doing through the National AIDS Council and other organizations that are involved in the fight against HIV and AIDS. And as we heard from President Emmerson Mnangagwa's address yesterday, the government of Zimbabwe is working flat out to ensure that it also meets its target of eradicating HIV and AIDS by the year 2030 in line with the United Nations goals. So this is part of the effort that is being made collectively and also individually in terms of what governments are doing on the continent of Africa. This is the 22nd International Conference on AIDS and STIs in Africa, ICASA, being held here in 2023 at the Harare International Conference Center. A lot of groups of people from various backgrounds are here, from various geographical locations from the continent, organizations that do advocacy, organizations that provide research, organizations that manufacture ARVs are here, policymakers are here, leaders in ministries across the African continent, they are also here to deliberate and discuss on how best the African continent can fight and end HIV by 2030. We continue to give you proceedings from the HICC Bengani.
Dr. Winnie Vianima, you're welcome.
Thank you, Director. Is this working? Can you hear me? I think, do you have another one? Good morning, everyone. Thank you for that energy. I'm so pleased to be on the panel together with my sister from UNFPA, Miranda Tabifor, and with our amazing leader, Brian Kanyemba from the communities, and of course, with our leader, the president of ICASA, Dr. Parire Nyatwa. I think I've said it right. I did. Thank you so much. So thank you, thank you. Thank you all for being here. Communities must lead. Absolutely. I'm really thrilled to be at the opening of this space. Like you, I believe that this space has to be owned, led by communities themselves, and that communities are by their nature inclusive. And that means that all people in all their diversity have a space here. There shouldn't be exclusion. So thank you for that. And I thank the organizers of ICASA, all those who have supported ICASA for making it possible to have this space and for us to use it to raise the voices of communities. So thank you so much. It's a pity the First Lady is not here, but I was with her in Victoria Falls, and I saw I was with her in Victoria Falls with other First Ladies. I listened to them, I listened to the work she's doing with women and girls, with men on challenging toxic masculinity, sexual violence. I also visited a center for sex workers that she supports. And here, yes, I found that she's a strong supporter of our program. We also support it for delivering services with dignity to sex workers. So for all of that, I thank her in her absence. So here, I want to mention why did we say this year that we should focus on communities and that the message is let communities lead. Why did we say that? We say that because we are in really the last lap of this fight against HIV/AIDS. We will win it. But this last lap, this last mile, is always the hardest one. You know, if you are a runner, you know that. It's the most challenging. It's challenging because it's about finding those people who are not getting prevention, testing, treatment, and care services. And why aren't they getting them? Because in many countries, they are there. Condoms are there. PrEP is coming, though not enough. Test kits are there. Self-testing even. Treatment is there. Why are those people who are not yet there getting the services, why aren't they? And it all boils down to inequalities that they face, rights that are denied. That is what stops stigma, discrimination in the society. These are the reasons why those people who are not yet having services don't have them. It's not because services are not there. It's because they are denied their right to access them. So that's why it is the hardest part of the battle. It is the hardest because it is about allowing people to enjoy their rights. It's about changing mindsets, about judgments on other people, what's right and wrong. It's about tolerance in the society. It's about letting people be who they are, love who they love, do what they like as long as it's not breaking the laws of the country. So it's about this, and it's hard. And that's why we need communities. It's communities who have always been able to claim and win their rights. Rights have never been delivered on a silver plate. Rights have been won through struggles. I salute you all for being part of those struggles for rights. I am one of you. I know how to fight for rights. I've fought for rights. I've won in battles like this, and I know it takes movements to win. And what do you need? First of all, you need to keep the vision of what you want in front of you. What is the society we want? We want a society where everybody is treated equally and can live a life of dignity, where opportunities are shared equally. So whether you want to study, you want to trade, you want to do whatever, you have your opportunity just like everybody else. Keep that vision there of the world you want. I was so proud of the leader from the sex worker community who came here, Grace. Because Grace was given a space to speak, and Grace said, this is about all people being equal, and I am sharing this space with my brother. That is it. That's the movement, that we hold hands and we fight together. That's how we win. We said let communities lead because we know it is communities that lead struggles for rights. And rights are what we must gain to get the last people into the services. The second reason we chose this moment to say let communities lead is that these times are hard. We are seeing many forces, some of them not even from our continent here, from outside, coming here in the name of religion or whatever politics, and setting camp in our countries and pushing back on rights. We see it in many of our countries. I'm from Uganda. We saw in the last 10, 15 years how evangelical churches set up in our country and preached hate. They didn't preach love. They preached hate. And the hate reached fever pitch. And a new law was passed. But it was all because there was a movement on the ground that we didn't check. A movement of forces with other agendas pushing our people to be extremist in their views. We got that law, but we are fighting that law. My organization, UNAIDS, is also supporting the court to reach a good verdict on that law. The law is before the court being petitioned. I can't say more because I might be said to be having a side. We are in the court as neutral party, seeking justice. So we chose this moment to say, let communities lead, to empower you communities to push back against this pushback on rights. We support you. The United Nations supports you. The Secretary General of the United Nations, Antonio Guterres, supports you in your struggle for human rights. The third reason we said let communities lead is because, again, we are being denied as African people. We are being denied what we need to fight and end this battle. There are new treatments, new prevention tools that have been developed, and that if they came here and got into our hands, we could save many lives, from new infections to deaths. There is a tool, for example, that they call a long-acting injectable. It's a prevention tool. You get this injection, and for 2 months, you will not get infected if you happen to sleep with someone who is positive. It's also being developed to become an injectable for every 6 months. So twice a year, you can go, get your injection, and you are safe. You will not get infected. This is very important. It can be a game changer for many people who, for different reasons, can't keep swallowing a tablet. This could be a game changer. It's available already. I see billboards in America, in London, advertising, calling people to come to get the long-acting. We don't have it here yet. It's still too expensive. Our countries can't afford. But the truth is that the company which made it is taking into the bank millions and millions and millions. It probably already has passed its costs and is now just reaping profits. It could bring the price down, offer the technology for companies in India, in South Africa, to make it cheaply for our people to have it. And you know, this is not kindness. This injectable, to reach this point, to make it, to have it and own it, it took our people. It was our scientists who were in the clinical trials here in 7 of our countries. Even here in Zimbabwe, our scientists developed that injectable. Not only that, our people living with HIV, they put their bodies forward to be tested on by this drug. Now, the owner now is the one in America, not us who developed it. So this is a battle we want you communities to fight. Yes, it's a battle for justice. This tool they have, which they are calling theirs because they have made the law that they are the ones who own it, is not theirs alone. It's ours too. It was developed here in our countries by our people. We should share that technology. We need it here. So we are not asking for kindness. We are demanding a right. And it is it's communities who will demand that. Then there's another one. It's called the ring, the vaginal ring. This is for women. Women have for years, women living with HIV have few choices for prevention, but there are so many for men. So women in Africa have said, put the ring in the basket, make it one of the choices, because that ring works for me, maybe not for another. We want the ring. But now, again, those with money are saying, no, that one is not a priority. I'm saying to them, and I'm asking you communities, raise your voice and demand for the ring for women. It is their tool, they want it. It makes a woman safe, we want it. So in short, we want communities to rise and demand their right to the newest, the best technologies here on our continent, and not being monopolized by profit seekers. Right? Right? Let communities lead. So for those reasons, we want communities to lead, to claim rights. Rights to health technologies, equal access, rights to access to financing. There are many challenges in the world, and we are seeing the partners who have always supported this struggle becoming jittery, shifting resources. Well, we can't depend only on aid. We have to depend on money raised here. And there are ways to raise it that are blocked by the same rich countries. I talked about debt here in the meeting, the cost of financing. I talked about tax dodging by their companies who work here and extract and don't pay taxes, their fair share. All these problems in the global economy have to be solved in the United Nations. We need communities to raise their voice against this astronomical debt that is not being restructured for it to be restructured. We need communities to raise their voice on the question of tax dodging that denies us the money for health, education, and social protection. So these are our rights. Thank you so much. So, we want you to lead as you have always done. The last point I want to make is that we should celebrate. We should celebrate each other. We should celebrate everything that we have won. In struggles, you should do self-care, defend each other and defend yourself, and make yourself beautiful and be happy. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your kind words and for honoring us in the community village. I am truly honored to have been the moderator of this opening ceremony, and I will call the speakers for one group photo up here.
That's the opening of the community villages here at the ICASA 23 conference at the Harare International Conference Center, a conference that is discussing STIs and AIDS in Africa. Bengani, we heard from the various groupings that gave their speeches and presentations with regards how communities are expected and supposed to be pushing for inclusion in terms of the contributions that they also make in curbing HIV and AIDS. And this is the work that is left out there for communities to be involved and to be part and to ensure that they are not left behind in the fight against HIV and AIDS.
Yebo Justin, unkosikazi Winnie Byanyima oyinkokheli kumbe isiphathamandla se-UNAIDS ukhulumile njalo wathi kuqakathekile ukuthi abantu bezikhokheli ikakhulu ngesikhathi evula ngosemthethweni imisebenzi eqhutshwa iziqinti. Wakhuluma wathi njalo abantu bonke kumele baphatheke, abantu abachiyeneyo kumele baphatheke kunhlelo zokulwisana le-AIDS kanye lezinye inhlungu ezithelelana ngegciwane abantu behlangana emacansini.
Let's find out more from the president of ICASA 23, former health minister Dr. David Parenyatwa.
And you can see all these posters, it's ICASA, ICASA. It means we welcome this. We want this space to be perpetuated. We want this space for people to express what they feel, what their frustrations are, what is the way forward. Sing, talk, demand. We want that. That's why we've provided this. And I'm quite certain in my own heart that I think we're doing the right thing. You can see the posters around, the messages around, and our speakers have given us very strong messages. And I think as we fight HIV and AIDS, there is no doubt we will revert always to communities. I've said before that when we are fighting HIV and AIDS in ICASA, we have three major themes that we follow. The first one is you must follow the science. How does science help us to fight HIV? Number two, you must have good leadership, like Yana Winnie. Good leadership, leadership from yourselves. And the third one is communities, that we must have those three. And indeed, we're seeing that maturing. So continue the good work. We are we are there. Our next ICASA will be another country. We will do the same things. We will provide the same space, and we will support you. Thank you very much.
That's Dr. David Parenyatwa, former Minister of Health and Childcare for Zimbabwe, who is now the ICASA 23 president, having, of course, put in place strategies, stakeholders, bringing all these people together to discuss ending HIV and AIDS.
Yeah. Bekungumongameli we-Society of AIDS in Africa njalo engumongameli we-ICASA 2023 uDr. Parenyatwa ukhulumile ngokuqakatheka kokukhokhelwa kwezigaba esithi kumele kube lobukhokheli obuhle njalo ubukhokheli obuqotho ekulwisaneni legciwane le-HIV esithi amanyathelo wonke asefakiwe asendleleni enhle yokuthi iZimbabwe iyenelisa ukulwisana lenhlungu lokuthelelana kwenhlungu leyo kusafika kumnyaka ka-2030.
Thank you so much for having been part of this broadcast. And remember, the theme is Let Communities Lead. From myself, Justin Mahlatla, and my co-presenter. Have a pleasant viewing.
Hello, grade 1 learners. Welcome to the Education Zone. My name is Miriam Muzunze, and on the sign language is Priska Signoro. I'm going